You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Tiona Hobson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Rookie Blue After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Rookie Blue After Show.
Okay.
Going back to like 1988.
I know.
Very like.
Citizens on patrol!
Yeah. That works.
Who is this? Yeah. Well, anyway, Bingers for doing, and we are doing Rookie Blue here at AfterBuzz TV Season 4, Episode 1, entitled Surprises. I am your host, Bamm Ericsen, and I would like to introduce my panel of lovely ladies. To my left.
Hello, I'm Anik Dufour.
Hi everyone, I'm Marisa Serafini.
And I'm Tiona Hobson.
And so this is our first AfterBuzz recap for Rookie Blue, so we're really excited to do our after show. It's a very popular show, and it only airs in the summertime, which I think is really cool. So it just goes straight through summer, and it just goes through all the episodes, and then so that's yeah, I like it. So what do you guys think about the return?
I liked it. It was full of action and a lot of
Surprises.
yeah, exactly. It was a nice episode to come back to open season 4.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think season 3 ended with a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And, you know, just kind of ended like, oh, well, what's going to happen next? I like that they skipped ahead 6 months. So we didn't have to kind of go through everything, but we just to see how people are adapting to new situations.
Yeah.
I can say that the ending made me a lot more happier than watching the beginning, because I'm so used to the whodunits, the weekly whodunits. And so I felt it was a little slow because we were dealing more so with the task force, and then all the other stories took a back seat, you know, between you know, like Dove and Shaw and some of the other characters who normally have a lot more. But I felt like they all kind of took a back seat because of this whole thing with McNally and the task force. And then finally toward the end, they were able to kind of come together. But I was hoping to see more, but it was refreshing to just kind of to brush up on that, because when we go into episode 2 next week, it looks like they're going back to their whodunits. And I'm really excited for next week's episode. But
They show, it's funny because like they showed the trailer, and like we were talking about in the room, where it's like it's basically just showed us like the whole episode. So it's like, let's do 2 episodes tonight, you know? It's like,
But the thing with the weekly whodunits is like you get a glimpse. You know, there's a robbery obviously for next week, but like there's a whole lot more to it, you know. And then plus now we're gonna dive into some of the characters, and you know, this new chick, this new lady. Who's replacing Noel, who's on maternity leave. So it gives just a little bit of insight, but I think it's going to be a whole lot more.
oh yeah, definitely.
But now let's get into the season opener. So there was a lot going on with the task force. So let's go into McNally and to Nick. So now we flash back and we go 6 months later. And so now they're in this whole ordeal. What do you guys think about that?
They were hot. I'm sorry. At first, when we saw them flirting,
You're saying them as a couple were hot?
them as a couple, at first, you know, I thought it was just a front, you know, this is just an act. They're undercover. But I was like, you know, they're actually pretty cool together. I like them.
Yeah, I think it shows more of their relationship. We got a glimpse into their relationship in season 3 when Nick was going through his drinking problem. Andy was the one covering for him. So you could see that they had a good friendship base, and it was solid. And so seeing them get to work together and put on this front of being in a couple, I think after you do that for so long, maybe some real feelings start to blossom a little bit.
I like the whole chemistry. I like the chemistry that they have together, like the 2 actors. But at the same time, I'm still kind of pulling for the whole Andy and Swarek type thing.
The relationship is a front, between McNally and Nick. But is it more of a front on Nick's perspective? And McNally is the one who is, I don't know, like, what do you think about? I don't feel like, I feel the relationship seems one-sided. I feel like Nick kind of takes it as a pretend, but McNally is kind of in it.
At the end of the episode, you know, when they're in the truck and they're hiding out, and he had a line. What did he say? He said something about, because she was still mad at him about pulling the trigger. And he says, I don't like to go to bed angry. And then kind of grabbed her hand. And in that, it felt like it meant something more than just what it seemed like on the surface.
That was kind of like a,
Yeah,
moment
because he
type
slept
of
on the
thing.
couch the night before, even though
Yeah.
it was his turn in the bed, or it wasn't his turn in the bed, but I don't know, it just felt like there was something more, and he meant something deeper with that one line.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Were you gonna say something?
Oh no, I just agree.
Okay. Now let's go into let's break. You guys want to just break down this whole task force about what
Yeah.
happened?
A lot happened.
Yes, a lot did. So, go ahead. You.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, you know, they have this whole meth undercover thing that they're trying to uncover. They're working with these guys who have this plan. I didn't really follow how they were delivering the magic trick twist at the end. So if someone else wants to explain that,
I think they were just trying to like get the task force like off of them, so they were kind of like tricking them,
Yeah, like
making them
Yeah.
think that the meth was, you know, with
with the
In one place.
yeah
with
and
the propane when it
and
was actually still
Hamilton's,
in a truck.
yeah.
So they're kind of like trying to
So
like
where were the
who's
trucks
all it
going to?
To their so-called location.
Yeah.
that
Oh,
they all
okay.
dropped off.
So it was more like a decoy. It was like, okay, it was as if they were thinking ahead 2 steps, thinking what they thought the cops would think. So
Okay.
the way they was set up and how all of the places, the restaurant, they all were having the deliveries from the helium tanks. And so what they did was they made a decoy. So within the tanks, they would think the cops would, you know, automatically assume that. So then they would put, you know, I think they were jelly beans.
Jelly bean.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were jelly beans. They put those in there to decoy them and make them think it's there when it was actually somewhere else, which was in the trucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened all so quick that I was like, wait a minute, I missed something.
It's not a diversion kind of deal.
Yeah.
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 And then there was the guy who was pulled over. His name was Mr. Dent. Mr. Dent, who was pulled over by Dove.
Dove and Shaw.
Dove and Shaw, and I thought his character was pretty funny too. I thought he was funny. He was pulled over, and you know he's acting like he's this huge big shot, and the car was rented. He's a caterer, and so he's like a total poser, acting like he just had somewhere important to go. Then he bribed. His mistake was basically that he bribed the officers money to let him go. Now, if he's a caterer, why did he have a big wad of money in his pocket?
I have no clue. I was gonna say that too because I mean they make you know okay money, but not like I mean when you carry $2,000 if you're like a caterer.
But again, he was actually part of the task
The task force.
Right.
So
right.
he might have just had money on him just to back him up if anything did come up. So he had money to just help him.
And that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the
Just an
end of it, I was like,
emergency.
oh, it's probably like the drug money and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when they showed him at first, we didn't know that he was a part of, you know, the drug deal. So then it's like at the same time, it gets me questioning, like, where did he get the money at? And then you see that he is a part of the.
But that was good. I liked how they surprised us
Yeah.
there and how he was actually part of the whole operation.
Yeah, I thought so too.
That was a nice surprise.
And it was a nice way to bring, you know, the division back into it because then it becomes about them trying to get their own home or back, you know, to their lives instead of the the task force who's only out to their only concern is finding these people and getting the drugs and stuff and not about finding Andy and Nick.
Yeah.
So I liked how, you know, it was basically their own family, their division that brought them back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly what you were going off of. Like with Andy and Nick, it became personal for the division, and then with the task force, it was just all business.
Yeah.
So that's why Division 15 had to step in and be like, oh no, we're taking over.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they get stuff done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And plus, you know, their own 2 officers were a part of it, and they're like, oh no, we got to help them, their family.
I agree. What was a little confusing to me was how the task force with McNally and Nick, how it was planted for them for the whole setup with the whole thing. That was a little confusing for me in the initial thing, how the whole setup when they broke into the house, that was confusing to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like at the beginning.
At the
you're
very,
talking about,
at
right?
the very beginning, when McNally and Nick are in the house, and then you could see from the long shot where you could see them by the water, and they were bringing stuff in, and then they go and they do this whole break in, and then once Nick was hit into the eye, and then we break to the scene, and then how it was set up, that I was confused about. Am I the only one?
No, I was kind of confused about that too.
No.
It just kind of was like a little flash and like what just happened type of thing.
I think they were just trying to set up the fact that they're knee deep into this operation, and you know, they're putting up these fronts, and this Steve McCowan, even though he's part of the task force, he's also knee deep into this operation too, and it's just them showing the audience that they're really into this task force, and they're trying to take down this drug operation.
Yeah, I at that point just wasn't really trusting their leader, the guy who came into what was his name, Jacob Blackstone, I think we found out later. I just at that point it made me not really trust him that much. It felt like he had an ulterior motive, and at first I thought it was going to come out that he was working on both sides. But
Yeah,
I almost thought that
Yeah.
too.
I thought that too.
I thought he was double crossing them.
Yeah, but yeah.
I mean, I guess when you think of a cop show, that's just my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a double crosser. He's got to be double crossing.
Your mind automatically goes to that like scenario. Yeah.
And I love how Andy, I mean, she's got the worst luck as a cop because she always ends up getting kidnapped or caught. Like, she just always ends up in those situations tied up somewhere. If I were a cop and that kept happening to me, I'd just retire.
Yeah.
You know what, guys? It was good, but like, this keeps happening to me. I got to get out of here.
But you had to know that once Nick went off without her, and then she was not able to find out where he was, you knew that she was gonna, go after him for that. You knew that, and then also that's when, for me, I could really tell, like, okay, it's not on her from her perspective. I didn't think that her feelings for Nick was make believe. Like just some of the things that she was reacting and things, like I could tell that she's really falling for Nick, and that it's just not a facade between the two.
Yeah, you could definitely see that from her, even though I think she's thinking that she's still maybe got a thing for Sam that we saw. But at this point, I don't think that they both realize what's going on. And they haven't come to terms with it yet, and it's not going to affect them until they're back working and
right, and when the others are involved. But once she got into the house and she was on the computer, why did she turn her back? Like, she should have known that. Did you really think that you were gonna get out of the house that easy when these were the same guys that just popped your your make believe boyfriend? Like, I didn't understand, why did she turn her back?
It's Andy. She's not the brightest person.
she lets her guard down.
Yeah,
quick.
she's just not. I mean, it's something that I would have expected from her, from like the seasons and stuff, from like watching her from like season 1 to like now season 4, and it's just like something that it's just that's what her character does, So I didn't expect anything like less from her.
Yeah, but
because she's always in trouble.
Yeah, well, but the reason why she's always in trouble is because she acts first and then thinks later, and then that ends up biting her in the butt all the time. But she also acts more on emotion. So she wears her heart on her sleeve.
You're right,
so,
she does.
And when people are emotional, you don't really think straight.
That's a hard thing too, though, being a cop. When you wear your heart on your sleeve, you kind of have to have like a little bit of more of a tougher exterior. I don't know, maybe that's just me.
And she can be tough. We have seen that.
Yeah, she
Right.
totally.
She acts on
can,
emotion, and just emotion really first.
And that kind of shows, like, although they're in the 4th season of Rookie Blue, obviously they're not rookies, but there's a lot of rookie tendencies that McNally still has when you compare her to some of the other characters, say like Tracy Nash.
Yeah.
You know, her head is a little more on straight, and I don't know if it was because she had the training of her ex-fiance, who I was devastated when they killed him off last year.
Gosh.
Rest in peace.
But-
I cried.
Bye, Jerry.
Yeah. But she totally has those rookie type abilities where she should have been on her guard just a little bit more, especially if you're already undercover and you can't really trust these guys.
Yeah, and you don't know where they are. Just because they're not there at that point doesn't mean that they're not going to come back home or anything like that. You got to have
Right.
your story straight, why you're there snooping, why you are on the computer. And yeah, I think she just let her guard down a little bit. She got too focused on the computer screen.
You know what's really interesting about computers? You guys can not only go on your computers, but you guys can go on all your mobile devices, whether if you have an Android or if you have an Apple device like an iPhone, iPad. You guys can go to iTunes. You guys can download us for free. All the great episodes that we have here on AfterBuzz TV. You can download, you can rate, you can leave comments, and you guys can tell all your friends about AfterBuzz TV. And make sure that you go and download this iTunes podcast of Rookie Blue, along with all the other shows that we have here on AfterBuzz TV. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great comment. It's our first show.
I know.
Yeah, we're a new show, so show us lots of love.
okay, so anything else on the task force you guys want to discuss?
Should Andy be so mad about him pulling that trigger? Because I kind of felt when he kept telling her, "Look in my eyes, look in my eyes." At
Trust
that
me.
point, and he was like, "Trust me." It's like he's giving you a code. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that her tears were more for like dramatic effect, but then she was really upset that he. I mean, I guess you should be, but don't you also have to trust your partner to know that the gun's not loaded and he wasn't going to blow you?
It's funny because I think it goes back to what Bamm was saying regarding her having feelings for him, type of thing. Because I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody that I had feelings for would do that to me, I'd been like, bitch, you know, and it would be on, you know. I mean, and I think what he said was right. I mean, she probably has feelings for him, and I think he does have feelings for her, but he just doesn't know it yet.
My question is, they've been in this task force for a while, and they've been police officers for 4 years now. Don't they know the difference between a loaded gun and one that's not? Like the weight difference?
Okay.
Shouldn't they know that stuff?
I was getting ready to say that, and Nick even explained why the gun was unloaded. But for me, I'm 50-50. Like he did say, look at me, look at me, look at me. That was like a clue. Anytime like you're when you're watching TVs or movies, and when they're gonna shoot the gun or something, there's always something that kind of triggers the other person to know. So I felt like she should have known, that McNally should have known that I got you, it's okay. But because she's emotional and she thinks first, I can see why she responded that way, because a gun is at her head. And the fact that you can hear, the fact that you can even hear the part of the click, that even if I was a cop, and not, I can't really say this, but I'm thinking if I was a cop and I heard the gun, if someone had a gun to my head, even if Marisa, if you said, trust me, but you have the gun in my head, there's still a thought in my head like, oh my God, I'm about to die. And just a tidbit of the sound of a click, it would probably freak me out just a little bit, because it's a gun. I don't know. So am I wrong for thinking out of that? 'Cause-
No.
I agree. If I was put in that state, I'd be emotional too, and I'd be like, well, my life just flashed before my eyes too.
Yeah.
So I can't really judge on that, because fortunately I haven't been in that situation. But yeah, I'd probably react the same way.
Yeah, so I get why she responded that way, but I do think that she was a little extra.
Yeah.
Because like you said, if you have been a cop now for 4 years, shouldn't you know the weight difference? Shouldn't you know certain things? And like and then I don't know, for even when Nick explains why
he did
she
it.
should have known that the gun was not going to go off, and how something about the side, the clicker or something, like she was still kind of like upset. And for me, it felt like she was one of those girlfriends that is upset, and she's going to continue to say what she has to say because she's upset, and you're just going to have to deal with it. And I felt like he had justified his reason for why he did it, but she kept going at him.
Yeah, she did. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was getting at too, because it just felt like, okay, yeah, you're upset because at first you don't really know what's happening, but then, you know, you realize what happened and that he actually bought you time and pretty much saved your life so that they didn't, or saved both of their lives. It's like, why are you still harboring on that one thing when there's like a bigger thing happening right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we find out immediately after that, she's like, 6 months is way too long. I'm done with being undercover. So I think she's just at that point. That was the last straw.
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm done.
Yeah, she was at the boiling point.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is who was there when the truck opens. Who was there to rescue her?
Oh,
yeah.
Sam.
As usual.
Yeah, good old Sam.
And whose number she claimed she had forgotten.
I know.
Yeah. No.
And
You're not.
But you never forget
yeah, it's
that.
like you never forget the
I mean,
number.
I still, honestly, like, I still remember my ex-boyfriend from high school's phone number. I know, it's sad.
Yeah, you just it's
it's like
something
you
that's
don't-
in your
exactly.
mind when you. I mean, in the day and age when we had to actually remember people's phone numbers, you know.
And I was gonna say that was probably at the time where you dial the number.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when she did say. I remember when she said that, but sometimes we say things to our partners just out of anger. But of course she would, especially when she needs someone help.
Right.
But her response when he answered the phone was a little different.
Yeah. It was,
I'm good. Or what
Yeah.
was it? I'm good, thanks.
he's like, "Where are you?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm doing great."
But so now it makes me think, okay, she did all this this bickering with Nick, and now she sees Sam, and there was kind of a connection between the two, and she kind of walked off and she kind of went her way. She was kind of, it seemed like McNally was like really happy to see that it was him who rescued, but there to me didn't seem as if there were feelings at that point. It seems like her feelings didn't evolve until she realized that Sam moved on and now he's with Cruz.
Yeah, that he can
Agreed.
have somebody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
for,
not her,
that's
yeah.
for me when it all of a sudden went from, oh, hi, you know, thank you for saving me. It's so good to see you. Then, oh, you're with her. I mean, for me, it was totally different.
Yeah, I agree. But when Sam did open the truck, you saw his face lit up for a split second. He
Yeah.
was genuinely happy and excited to see
Yeah.
Andy. So I think there are some residual emotions there. He still has a thing for her. So, but yes, Cruz now in the picture. Andy's, I think she's just that jealous ex-girlfriend now.
I don't know. I kind of feel like season finale last season, Sam confesses that he loves her.
Right.
And says, "I will show you every day until you believe me." And then she goes off on the 6 month trip.
And she's very dismissive
Can't say
too.
can't say anything, you know, that she's leaving or anything. But if, as a girl, if someone says that to me, like when I come back, I don't expect it that you waited
Right.
for me, but you just said like you were gonna spend like the next year of your life if you had to, proving to me how much you wanted to be with me, and then I come back and like you're gone. It's like clearly everyone knew that they went on this task force, so they couldn't say goodbye to people. So that's my only issue, is that I kind of feel like there are still feelings there, because I'm like, Sam, you just said that you're gonna fight for her, and then now you're with someone else. So I kind of feel like she has sort of a right to be jealous of that relationship, but that's just me.
But then the last, when we saw Sam confess his feelings to her at the finale, Andy was kind of dismissive. She's like,
Yeah.
"No, we're done. We're over it. We've been through this." So I think Andy's on the wrong, saying now she wants Sam back just because Cruz is in the picture.
Yeah, I think she's like the type of person where it's like, if the guy's not after her, then she's kind of like, you know, like even when like the guy comes after her, she just wants them to be like, oh, I want you, I want you, I want you. And then when they go and find somebody else, she's like, well, you know, what happened to me? Type of thing. I don't know. I want to see her like go all Fatal Attraction. No?
That'd be nice to see.
Okay, I can see.
Let's get the guy's
That wouldn't be
perspective.
Andy.
I can see both sides of Sam saying that he'll wait, but maybe he had a moment where he thought, okay, it's been 6 months, and she told me basically to beat it. And when there's out of sight, out of mind, who's to say that Cruz didn't kind of pursue him to where sometimes people can grow on you like a fungus. And maybe Cruz, Cruz, she seemed, there was something about Cruz that I didn't like. She seemed very pushy. She seemed very, like she was trying really too hard to fit in. So maybe their relationship, maybe she's bossy. I don't know. We haven't really figured out what her character is, but maybe she just grew on Sam. Because what was really interesting was once Cruz saw that McNally was back, Cruz went to Sam and was like, look, is there anything going on? So you kind of have to wonder, did she go after him for the sake of taking him away from Sam, or to get her to, I don't know, just kind of one of those things when a girl ask those kind of questions, because if you know for sure that you have your partner, there really is no room for questions or insecurity.
And I think that also goes back to, she's also kind of jealous now too, because obviously if she knows about Andy and Sam's relationship, then obviously Sam's been talking about Andy. So I think maybe that was another reason why Cruz maybe have clung on to Sam even more so, now that Andy's was completely out of the picture. And now that she's back, now she's questioning their relationship now.
Is this the first time we see Cruz?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so we didn't.
new this
I
season.
can't remember.
Yeah, she's
the
completely
season.
new.
Okay, so she just came out of like nowhere.
Nowhere.
Yeah, we don't know where she came from yet.
Okay.
But did anyone get the sense that Cruz and Swarek's relationship was like known throughout?
I caught it.
I caught that there was tension or something between them.
I caught it maybe a scene or two before it was revealed. I caught a look between those two. I think it was right after McNally was rescued or something. I can't remember when, but I put in my notes, I was like, okay, I put prediction, Sam and Cruz. And then the next scene, we see them interacting. So for me, I caught it. For me, I did.
Yeah, because Andy goes and talks to Tracy, you know, that's her bestie, and she tells her exactly where to find Sam. So I just felt like in that moment, if the rest of the department knew about it, wouldn't she have given her friend a heads up? Like, hey,
You would think, yeah.
you know, I know you're looking for him, but this is what's happening.
Yeah.
That is a good question. So that leads me to think that maybe the two of them.
Because, I mean, then they kissed in the kitchen. Is that where they were in the kitchen.
They were in the
so,
kitchen.
you know, they kissed where everyone could see it, but maybe.
But then
But
again,
maybe they thought that they were alone in the
Alone,
kitchen.
yeah. And you know, Nash she's kind of on the different end. She's doing detective work, so maybe she was busy the past 6 months and she didn't notice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
I mean, has the relationship gone on for 6 months?
I don't think so.
We don't know if
we don't know.
that
Right, so we
relationship
don't
has
know.
been 6 months.
Yeah,
We don't know how long it's been.
Yeah, we don't know where she came from. To be honest,
Right.
I don't know.
Hopefully we'll get more on her.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so too. But again, there's just something about her. I see tension between Cruz and McNally.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I also think that because McNally just expected for Sam to be there waiting, now that this investigation was over, she obviously likes Nick, but she's done with Nick because she figures now she can have Sam. She goes there, Sam is not available. Now I think she's gonna go back to Nick, which is now going to cause problems because there's a whole thing between Gail and Nick. So I think that there's going to be a huge triangle going on between the 15th division. Me personally, that's what I think.
I do too.
Can we mention Gail's reunion with Nick though?
That was hilarious.
Yes.
Gail's my girl.
Awesome. She just clocks him.
Yeah, she just punches him, and she's like, good to see. She's interesting. She's very interesting, to say the least, her character.
At first, the first 2 seasons of Gail's, I didn't really like her. She was cold and whatnot. But season 3, I really started to. She grew on me. And
Yeah.
she started to warm up, and they gave her more interesting storylines, especially in season 3. So I really like Gail now, and she definitely has become one of the more interesting kind of comic reliefs of the show.
I think I like her and Nick's relationship, like that they were engaged, and now that she does have feelings for him. Although I do still like her and don't shoot me, I still like her and Diaz together. I know.
I like their interaction in the car.
Yeah, they're kind of, I don't know, they just kind of like play off each other. I just like the whole chemistry.
And speaking of Diaz, and so at the beginning of the episode, he was waiting to get his transfer papers.
Right.
And he was with his baby's mother. And someone said that they don't think that...
That was me.
Okay.
I don't think that he's the baby daddy.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he is.
I
Yeah,
always
because
wanted
he
him to
didn't get a
test.
paternity test. I know they were talking about it, but there was a line in the finale where he's like, at this point, it doesn't matter if
doesn't
I'm
matter.
the father or not, that like I have to take care of them.
Wrong.
So
Yeah,
so
that's
we
just
never got
not-
the true paternity test.
You always need to get that test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end, Gail has the papers and she gives it to him and says that he didn't get the transfer, and then of course he reads the papers, or actually Dove actually saw the paper, read it, and said basically he's been transferred. Do you guys think he's leaving?
I don't think he's leaving.
I don't think he is.
I think it's going to be like a little circle. If he does leave, maybe we'll see him in the other division, and then like he'll find out he's not the baby daddy, whatever, and he'll come back. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that might
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, 'cause-
He'll leave for a hot second and then
Yeah.
realize he made a mistake. His family's Division 15. He'll come back.
What did you guys think about Dove's whole storyline? Because he hasn't gotten any. Is that what? Right?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
like
he's-
Dove. I think Dove's hilarious.
Yeah.
I always, for some reason, want to call him Ephraim from Everwood.
Yes.
And it's not Ephraim. It's
not
Dove.
Ephraim, it's Dove.
But I think it's funny, and I think that he's getting to the point where he just may explode in other retrospect. I think that he's getting to the point where he's kind of over it and he needs to find a girl.
I always feel bad for Dove because I feel like for the first couple seasons he was kind of a screw up. He just was
Yeah.
always around, but he tries so hard but just doesn't always get what he wants. So I would like to see him have some sort of stable, good relationship this season instead of the types of relationships we saw last season.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he said he was celibate, but I think he wants to be with someone now.
Yeah, I'm hoping that his storyline kind of goes more. And then, what do you guys think about with Shaw, Oliver Shaw's character?
I like Shaw.
I do too. And
Yeah.
and he mentioned his wife, so he's back with his wife, and so I'm hoping that we'll see. I'm sure at some point at this season we'll see that kind of we'll see something with that.
He also mentioned, because Dove said, "Oh, are you happy? You're happy that you're back and stuff like that." And he said that, "Yeah, I'm really happy to be with my children." So he didn't really say that he was happy to be back with his wife. So that may be like another.
That's a good point.
That may be like another like storyline there. I hope so, because I talked to Matt Gordon. He plays Shaw on Twitter a lot, and he follows me, so we like DM and stuff like that. And he's
Oh,
a good
do
guy.
tell, do tell.
Yeah.
What do you DM about?
Hopefully, just about the show and stuff. So hopefully, maybe he can call or come in. I don't know if he's ever in LA. I'll find out.
I'm gonna hope that he is in LA, because I've actually seen Unica, who's Tracy Nash.
Right.
I've seen her a couple times at parties,
Okay.
But it's normally around like spring or summertime that I've seen her there, because I'm sure the season's done because they shoot it. I'm sure they
Yeah.
probably shot it earlier this year.
Yeah.
So I would think that they're done. So if you could, I think you should DM
I'm definitely gonna.
DM him back
Yeah.
and ask if he would be a guest on the show.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so I think we've gone through all of the characters, and I think next week they're gonna dive more into the characters. But for this one, there had to be more focus on McNally because she was away, and now that she's back and she's away from going undercover. Now I think we're gonna go back to the whodunits, which we already discussed. So you guys have anything else before we go into news, gossip, and predictions?
I think we need to see more shirtless scenes with Nick.
Okay.
Do we have
Oh,
news
great.
and gossip?
I have some.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I was reading the HollywoodReporter.com, and they did an interview with Tassie Cameron, who's the co-creator and EP on Rookie Blue, and she kind of teased a couple things. She teased that one of the main characters will disappear for an extended period of time throughout the season, but will be back. So I know we were talking about how maybe Diaz would take that transfer, so maybe it could be him. I don't know. And then some fun facts for everyone. Gregory Smith, who plays Dove, actually directed one episode last season. So that kind of got his feet wet, and now he's going to be directing the first half of the 2-part season finale. He directed.
Ooh, very nice.
So he's doing a lot of things. And also his brother, Doug Smith, who was in Big Love, is going to come on in a couple episodes, and he's described as playing like a very funny character later on in the season. So we got a little family affair going on.
Did they say if the two will interact, or will they play brothers, or what?
They didn't say what exactly he'd be doing. They just teased that he's a funny character.
Okay.
At this point.
I have, I guess some trivia. Tracy Nass's character, played by Unica Lukuma. I was watching Double Jeopardy with Ashley Judd and Tommy Lee Jones on Netflix probably like maybe a month ago, and she was in.
Really?
When Ashley Judd's character gets released and she goes into that house where she has to come back between 8 o'clock. So she was one of the young ladies. But I was thinking to myself, that was in 1999. She looks the same, so I'm kind of wondering how old is she? Because I mean, gosh, that was Double Jeopardy that was a long time ago, but she looks the
14 years
same.
ago.
Wow.
Yeah, that
Maybe
was-
she ages well.
Yeah, that was 14 years ago. So
Whatever her secrets are, can I know?
Yeah.
So I was just kind of curious when I saw that. I was like, how old is she really? So, but yeah.
Interesting.
Any other news and gossip?
Peter Mooney was actually on the season finale of Beauty and the Beast.
Oh.
So maybe we'll see him again in that show in the fall.
Okay. Well, let's go into new predictions. Sorry.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, predictions. We've touched on it just a little bit, but let's all go around and give our predictions for, next week or just in general for the characters.
In general, let me see. My predictions, well, I have a lot, and I'm probably going to take, I'm probably going to take some of you guys' predictions. I apologize. I think that there's going to be a triangle, of course, between Sam and Andy and Cruz, and then maybe Nick and Gail and Andy. So I think that she's going to be back and forth, and of course, Andy's not going to know what to do because it's Andy and she never knows what to do. Although I do love her character.
Yeah.
She does get on my nerves sometimes. I don't know, I want to see Noelle back. And I know we're going to see her again next week. And I like her and Best's character. And I like their whole interaction. And I also think that Diaz is not the baby's father.
All right. I think, yes, Andy has more feelings for Nick than she's letting on, that we know as of right now. Yes, yes about the triangle, But I think we're also going to get maybe like flashbacks of what happened during the task force during those 6 months that we didn't see yet. We'll see some flashbacks of their relationship, how their attraction to each other kind of grew in that sense. And I think maybe we'll get like some PST, post-traumatic
PTSD.
Yeah, PTSD. That one. That from Nick and Andy in their everyday current lives right now when they're back in this division and they're working. And I think this whole task force is going to affect their everyday job now that like there's so much happen that they're going to have a hard time getting over this task force. It's going to affect their work.
Damn, Marisa.
I like that. Yeah.
I was just about to say that.
Right?
Yeah. My prediction was that for Andy and Nick, starting next week, coming back to the 15th division, that it's going to be kind of like the first day of school all over again because they have missed out on 6 months of so many of their friends' lives and what's happening and the new relationships and new characters that are around, that it'll be kind of difficult. And I think it's in that moment that they will kind of come together and being like, oh, you know, we went through this thing together, so we're comfortable with each other. And people like Gail aren't going to understand that, and she's going to get real pissed because I love a good pissed off Gail.
Yes.
She's just
Yes.
so feisty.
Can
and
you
just,
see like a cat fight
oh my
between
gosh,
like
happening?
Andy and Gail? I was like,
Yes.
yes, come on. I'd be like, they were like popcorn, like Bamm.
Who would win that? Who would win that?
My money's on Gail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
Oh,
Gail
yeah.
could take it.
Yeah.
She punched Nick. Come on.
Yeah.
She has no fear.
My predictions is I think it's not going to be a triangle. It's going to be an octagon between Nick, Gail, Cruz, Sam, and McNally. So I think that Gail is going to find out what happened between McNally and Nick Gail's going to go back to her bitchy self, and she's not going to she's not going to like McNally. And then McNally is going to be playing both Nick and Sam totally. She's going to be on Nick. She's going to be on Sam. And what's going to be interesting is will McNally and Sam be partners? So who's going to be a partner? I wonder. But then I think Cruz is just going to be eating it up like popcorn. I think she's going to totally rub this in McNally's face. So I think that Gail is gonna dislike McNally, and then McNally's gonna dislike Cruz, and then Cruz is not gonna like her back. So between the 5 of them, I think it's gonna be one big octagon where there's gonna be all kind of things going on. So like for instance, when we have this whole robbery, you know, all of them are gonna be involved in some way. So it's like they're gonna be working together, but yet there's going to be things and stuff like that. So when they're driving and stuff, it's just going to be really interesting. So I'm really excited to see that octagon. And then I definitely can't wait for Noel to come back and they get married. And so I'm kind of curious to see where that goes. And that's it for me.
Yeah, I think they're going to partner Cruz and Andy together
That
one
would be
day.
fun.
And that's just going to be
Yeah.
awkward tension.
That's a good time.
I think that'd be great to partner those two together.
Yep.
Yeah. And then
I think we're going to see that.
and then I think that Diaz will be the one that's going to leave, and then he'll come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's that seems like the easiest thing,
But
but
maybe
who
there's
knows?
another twist. Maybe there's another task force out there that
Yeah.
someone's going to disappear for.
Yeah, but make sure that you guys don't disappear. Make sure you guys come back next Thursday to tune into AfterBuzz TV Rookie Blue Season 4. I am your host, Bamm Ericsen. You can find me on Twitter at Bamm Ericsen, or you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Big Six Entertainment. Please let everyone know where you could be found.
And I'm Anik Dufour, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JustAnik, and my website, anikdufour.com.
And you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Serafini TV.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TweetT22.
And so we want to thank all you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next Thursday for AfterBuzz TV Rookie Blue Season 4.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.